A huge moo to the herd, and welcome to episode 13 of our Gregicality SkyBlock playthrough. So I've done a little bit of work between episodes. You'll see over here we have a big steel tank and we have some gas turbines. We also have some low voltage battery buffers filled with small sodium batteries. We have 3 of them. And I'm not going to go behind those again. I am currently eating food because I stood behind my steam machines and wondering why I was getting hurt. Over in our centrifuge, I've been putting all my organic material, so that's rotten flesh, apples, carrots, all through this to get more methane. And that's what's been piped in or pumped into the steel tank to get me some power, so you can look that the tanks are partly full. So today's plan, hopefully, is to try and get some gas turbine set up, but in a more automated fashion. The last thing I want to be doing is, if we go over to here, you'll find my charcoal chest is empty. I'm very low on my blocks of charcoal. We're burning through that at a silly rate. So I want to do something a little bit more sustainable, I hope. So we'll see how we get on. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I want to basically set up my machines, and I've made bulk of the machines already to do what I'm planning on doing. So the first thing I'm going to drop down, I really should fill that hole in. It says dropping into another hole. Oh no, I'm stuck. How can I be stuck? Ooh, embarrassing. Maybe I'll edit that bit out. Alright, let's go to my modular storage, and I'm going to just grab another factory block. Put one there, put one there. So what I'm going to do is, as I've mentioned before, I'm going to try and use the greenhouses to produce carrots, and then centrifuge those carrots into methane, and then use the methane to power my gas turbines. In theory, it should work, but we'll see. So one of the things I'm going to need to make the greenhouses more effective is fertilizer. So I don't know why that keeps on coming up. Thank you. So if I go into the recipe under chemical reactor, we need 5 calcium dust and 3 phosphate dust, and we're also going to need some oxygen and some hydrogen. So how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to need to electrolyze the or something to get my oxygen and hydrogen. So put an electrolyzer down and get that all powered up. We're going to need excuse me, to centrifuge some impure phosphate, phosphor, which I have already been making with my steam setup. So that's done. What else are we going to need? Chemical reactor to make the fertilizer itself. And there was something else I needed, and my brain has gone blank. Fertilizer. So chemical reactor, we need that. So that comes from phosphor electrolyzed. That comes from water electrolyzed. I think that's it. I think that's the 3 I need. So what I need to do is pipe water into here, and then pipe my goods into centrifuge. That's what I needed, another electrolyzer. Because once we've got the phosphor, yeah. So centrifuge, yeah, another electrolyzer here. Now I've got these short towers just to try and reduce the amount of distance that the cable's having to travel. So the energy, I should say, rather than the cables. And then hopefully things will run. Who knows? It's all guesswork at the moment. So what am I going to do? Well, first of all, I'm going to need to make some holes. think one there, one here, and yeah, one there. Yeah, I think I only need two. Right, I'm gonna have to think how these are gonna run. So let's try and get let's get the control mechanism in place first, rather than messing around trying to guess where things are. So I'm going to be using XNet to try and control all of this. So one of the things we're going to need is a controller, and the controller we can make with micro-insulating foils, some refined processors, some red alloy plates, some machine frames, steel plates, gold plates, and that gives us one controller. Or I could just use a machine frame, or micro-insulator foils and a basic electronic circuit, and I get 4 controllers. I wonder which one I'm going to go with. But I have been making a load of micro-insulating foil. I've made up some machine frames, and what else do I need? I've got my control circuits there as well. So if I go over to my little assembler, take that out just in case it does anything. So one machine frame in there, one of these, and what was the other thing? Oh, one of these. There we go, and there is 4 XNet controllers. Perfect. Now the problem with XNet is, unless I'm misunderstanding this, it runs on RF. And you know, we've got power everywhere for Gregtech, so that doesn't really help us. So what we're going to use is a GTU energy converter, just the LB version. Hopefully I should have everything for this. I need a chest. I have everything but a chest. Wow. So let me just get a recipe for a chest. Make one of those. Let's try and get some of this stuff put away. I'm going to put my sword and my knife away. And there's my chest. So if I now grab that, make my GTEU energy converter, and we're going to pop this here. Just going to use my wrench to get the power up to the top. And last but not least, I'm going to use my controller, and I'm just going to pop that here. And you can see it's now charging with RF. I'm going to put the remainder of these controllers away because we might use those later. So that's great. Next thing I'm going to need is I'm just going to pop... I've made a bronze chest up. That's going to be my storage. I was tempted to use the modular storage from RF Tools, but this seems a bit easier for me. So, right, that's charging up. That's that. And we are in a reasonably good place. So now we need to start thinking about how we're going to connect all of this together. So we're going to need some connectors, and at the moment I'm going to need at least 2 connectors here and 2 connectors here. So if I look at my thing, a connector recipe, so one is going to be 4 insulator foils, a chest, some circuits, some red alloy plates, or again 4 micro insulator foils, an MV machine hull, and a circuit. So let's make up an MV machine hull. Now the assembly recipe for the MV machine hull, which makes it a bit cheaper, needs polyethylene, and we're not ready to make polyethylene yet. We're going to do the manual one, but for that I'm going to need some machine casings. And I've made up some aluminium plates already, so if I go for the MV machine casing, will I be able to do that? I've got the wrench, so let's make how much I've got? 4, and let's see if I can make up the MV machine holes. Wrought iron plates. I was making wrought iron plates. Are they still in my bending machine? They are indeed. Right, so can I make 4 of these up? I can make 4 of those up. So that's my MV machine holes, and that's another quest completed. Where is it? I'm going to guess MV tier. The reasonable guess. So, connectors, holes, chips, and insulator foils. So I'm going to need 16, that's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. So pop that in. Pop that in. And I wanted 4 circuits. I'm glad I made up all those circuits in the previous episode. And this should give me, what, 16 connectors, which hopefully will be enough to do what I'm planning on doing. If not, then... okay, so that's my 16 connectors made up. The other thing I want to make up is network cables. Again, 4 from insulator foils and transfer pipes. I think you can guess there's an assembler recipe that says 6 of those, so it's the same cost, but only 3 transfer pipes gives you 8. I don't know which one I'm going to go for. So how many transfer pipes did I make? 25. So, should we make up? Let's make up 7. So I want 21 of these. And what did I say the rest was? 6. 6 for every 3. So yeah, we'll just take a stack of these out. I'll pop that in, and we'll let these get made up. Because we'll use the network cables instead of the connectors, because the connectors are reasonably expensive. The grand scheme of things, not that expensive, but expensive enough that I'm not just going to run connectors everywhere. I'm not sure the system would work if I did that. Right, so we should have enough now. I've got the XNet connectors, and I'm going to do is I'll pop that out and that out. And what I'll do is I'll take 2 connectors. I'm going to pop one on the chest and one here, and then we'll take our network cables. We'll go down here, and then we'll try and do everything downstairs. That and that. Right, so I've got network cable there. I want to get over to here. Right. So another cable there. So that's one corner. Let's go back up quickly. Right, so that's that one there. Could I pop one in there? Possibly. Keep everything on the same side. And what I'll then do is I'll get a... oh no, that's not what I do. That's not exactly what I didn't want to do. Yeah, so we need to run that one into the far corner. Yeah, so we'll do that. Let's just take the express route down. Ooh, but there's a power cable in the way. Ah. Right, give me a second, I'll be right back. Yeah, so this is what happens when you fail to plan. So I want to get that over to the other side. I suppose I could just... it's ugly as sin, but I'll tidy it up later, as everyone has ever said. Right, so that's my network cable over that way. At least I can route it along that way. But other things... right, so if I now take my connectors, pop one here, and so that's that one, and I want one here, for that one and that one. Drop my network cable down there, don't know why I put it up here. Have I still got my factory blocks? Yep. Right, so close that one in, go downstairs to get that all connected up. I want to put a network cable in. Network cables, there they are. Yep. And that, once I've connected the one downstairs, should be where are you? There. Right. that should be those connected up. So what I'm going to do is, if they're all done, we can start doing some programming. Now there is a bug. I was looking on the XNet GitHub repo. So you can see that the controller is named, but nothing else is. And it seems to be something specific to Gregtech. It's been an ongoing bug for some time. There doesn't seem to be any fix in sight, but it is what it is. Now I am going to do one other thing, and that's over here we have our pump pumping water, but I kind of need to steal it because I want to pump water in that direction as well. So I'm going to have to figure out how to run that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here, try and see if I can run a cable all the way over to here, so that we've got a water supply, and then we'll take it from there. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and yeah, just run a connector pipe all the way through to here. This will actually connect it all up into the network, so we're all good there. I've just tested to make sure it works, so that's all pretty good. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a channel for water. So just clicking on the channel 1, click on fluid, create it. I'm going to switch off the processor on the channel for the time being. I'm just going to name this channel water. And then what I want to do, this is my pump. Now what I can do, kind of okay, is if I right click on the connector, I can give it a name on the connector, which is brilliant. The downside is that this is one connector for 2 machines. So I've got electrolyzer and electrolyzer, so I can go electrolyzers. And if I go here, when I hover over them, now the connector is called pump, and one of them is called electrolyzers, and the other one is also called electrolyzers. So the other thing I can do is if I double click, it will highlight the block, so it gives me an idea of which one it is. Not ideal, but it does the job. So if we go back to our first channel, what I want to be doing is where our pump is, I want to create a, what do I call it, a connector, and I want this one to just extract. Number of ticks for each operation, 20 ticks, which is a second, great. We're doing it on distribute rather than priority base. We're going to keep the fluid extraction rate a bucket tick, that's fine, and keep the amount of fluid in tank. We're not going to do anything with that one. If we go back to this one, which is our electrolyzer, which is going to be electrolyzing water. If I hit create, I'm going to insert. I want to leave a maximum of 6,000, 6 buckets. I don't want it filling up all the time. The reason being is I want to add a little bit of intelligence to this whole process, so that once that's done, we can, you know, if we switch off the machines, it's not going to have a whole backlog of stuff, which will take a long time to do. So once that's all sorted, so they're the only 2 I want to work on at the moment. We'll just enable processing on the channel. If I go to my electrolyzer, we should find that we've got hydrogen and oxygen is now coming out of the machine. And we will find eventually, I think, I was expecting more water to be coming in by now. Oh, it is going in and it's just processing. I don't know why it's... So extract from there. Yeah, that's working. Insert into there. Max 6,000, so that's 6 buckets. There's definitely not 6 buckets of anything in there. Oh, there is 6 buckets of stuff in there actually. Well, that's not too bad. I think we can live on that because there is actually 6 buckets of oxygen and hydrogen, which is meh. Right. So we want water into that one. Perfect. So what else do we need? Right, we want into our basic centrifuge and our chemical reactor. So let's call this connector Centri CR. Gives me an idea which one's which. So that's the chemical reactor. That was the north one, and this one must be the centrifuge. So I'm going to create a channel. We're going to have XNet items, create, switch it off for now, and I want to create insert. It's not even laying in the chest either. That's a shame. Right. We want to insert there. We want to extract on this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my modular storage. I'm going to grab 2 stacks of impure phosphor. Just pop that in here. Right, so I'm going to extract from there. I want to insert. Just grab one of these. Insert. I want to impure pile of phosphor. And what I found when I was testing this is you need to enable metadata matching. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Don't know why. I'm sure there's a very logical reason for it, but that's what it is. So we are inserting phosphor, we're extracting from our chest. So if I enable this channel, we should now find that we're inserting our phosphor dust, and that is going to give us phosphor and tiny piles of phosphate. The other thing I want to do is I want to create another item one, and this is going to be our storage, we'll call it. We'll switch the channel off. What we want is insert into this chest and insert anything, and we want to extract from this. Again, extract everything, insert it into the chest. If we enable that, what we should find is we're getting our phosphor dust coming in here, and we are now getting some tiny piles of phosphate as well. The other thing we want to do is I want to find my electrolyzer that isn't being used. So that one's water, so it's the other electrolyzer. Electrolyzers. I'm going to use the same channel as 2. I'm going to switch the channel off for a second. I'm going to create. I want to insert on this, and I want to insert a piece of phosphor dust. So go here, insert phosphor dust, enable meta. The other thing I want to do is I want to limit what I insert. So the maximum I want in here, if I look at the recipe for the impure phosphor, when I centrifuge this, it's just 1-to-1. So we could just go through and have all that. But for this one, the phosphor dust, so use that. Gives me no, the wrong one, phosphor. If I electrolyze that, I need 5 phosphor. So if I limit that to 15, okay, and then re-enable the channel. So that will only stick 15 in there. So again, we're not backing it up. And again, on this channel here, I just want to create an extract. And what that should start doing is it starts dropping the phosphor into the other electrolyzer. So we've got our 15 in there. It's not doing any more than that. And that's now going to extract calcium dust and phosphate dust. So the last thing I want is another fluid channel. And we'll create this, we'll disable it. Now my electrolyzer that is doing, where are you? Use it you. No, you're inserting the phosphates. The one inserting water, which should be this one. Right, so you're there. I want to create an extract of fluids. And what I want to do is I want to insert those fluids in our chemical reactor, which in theory should be this one. Create, insert fluids into the chemical reactor. And the other thing I need to do is if I pop these back in the chest, sort that way, I want some calcium dust and some phosphate dust. So this is my, doesn't matter really which channel I use, but this will be my chemical reactor. And I want to insert, I'm going to switch this channel off quickly. Calcium, phosphate, again, max amounts. So what is the recipe for fertilizer? In the chemical reactor it's 5, so the maximum I'm going to pop is 10 of each. Let's call it 15 because that multiplies nicely. So that one, maximum in each is 15. Don't know what happened there. So that's going to get my fluids from there, insert stuff into there, and if I re-enable this channel, what we should have. Right, this is why I need to enable meta. Did I forget to enable meta on that? I did. Because it seems to see everything as the same. So it just enables it all in. Right, can't insert the rest. Insert the rest. So because it's already got 15 in there, I'm going to have to take that limit off, I think. Okay. Now, why aren't you inserting the fluid? Extract fluids from there. Insert into there. Have I got the wrong electrolyzer? I bet I have. No, that's the right one. Right, let me have a quick look at this one and find out why it's not working, and I'll be right back. It's easy to identify it. It wasn't even back a second. I just need to enable the channel. And now that will deposit our hydrogen and our oxygen. And now we have, hopefully, our organic fertilizer dust. Right, so the last thing I want to do is, this is our chemical reactor. I want an item 1. I'm going to say create extract, just extract everything. And then that should start putting our organic fertilizer dust there. Now, one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take channel 8 and I'm going to put XNet logic in here. Leave the channel off for the time being. And what I'm going to do is find my chest. I'm going to go create. And I'm going to go, I want that. And we'll say, if an item is greater than, or sorry, less than, put this item in here. I'm going to say, I don't know, 60? Less than 60? I'm going to change the output color to red will do. Okay. So with that item color, what we're saying is, if I've got less than 60, then switch my machines on. And now for each of my machines, each of my processes, I'm going to say, right, which one's this? This is my centrifuge. So I'm going to say, enable that on red. This is my chemical reactor, enable that on red. This is my electrolyzer, enable that on red. Any others? What's this one? Electrolyzer, enable that on red. And that's the chest. What's this one? That's just fluids, extract and insert into my chemical reactor. Now, what should happen is as this builds up, it will do its thing. So we're just waiting for some more stuff to come through. And once that hits 60, it should then switch everything off. So I should stop centrifuging stuff. Really want to limit the amount of phosphor dust, but then it doesn't. I suppose it doesn't really matter too much. So we want to centrifuge all that stuff anyway. So we're at 49, so we're just waiting for one more batch of this stuff to go. And once that's done, we will hopefully see that everything will just stop. Oh, this is that annoying patience. I don't need oxygen. And any second now. So the purpose of this is so that I'm not overproducing stuff. Because in the next episode, we're going to be using the fertilizer dust to grow carrots. And then we'll centrifuge that to make methane and have a bit of a loop here so that it's relatively self-sustaining. So, chemical reactor, done. That's all now going into my chest. That now has 60. So what should happen is everything should just basically stop. So the last dregs of stuff, so we're not adding any more phosphor dust into the electrolyzer. We can check that because this will do that. So that hasn't added any phosphor in. We should find that once this batch of stuff is done, it will probably not complete itself. So it might not transfer it. This one's just going to burn through its stock of stuff. Again, one of the reasons we could keep that at a set limit is to, when we say stop, it just stops because it's using power up at the moment, and I'm not sure I want to be using power up. So we'll see how we get on with that one. But there we have it. We have our first automation in place. And we are now getting closer and closer to being able to automate our methane production. So a bit of XNet control there. We will be able to produce the fertilizer, which can go into our greenhouses, which will be able to produce carrots, which we can then centrifuge into methane, and so on and so forth. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you join me in the next episode where we'll continue our production chain. If you like this episode, feel free to give it a like. If you'd like to see more episodes, then please feel free to subscribe. Until then, I wish you a very pleasant day. Goodbye.